here. I just got back from Maryland visiting my parents. No applause, I'm not surprised. We don't have a lot going on in Maryland. We do have the Catoctin mountain ranges. I like to call them the A cups of mountain ranges. Very flat. We're also known for crabs, so we're flat and we have crabs. Not a great slogan. I grew up as a middle child, which means I was destined to become a center seat passenger in coach. Not the youngest or the oldest, and certainly not aisle seat or window seat worthy. Why should I look out upon my own life? But you know, I feel like parents are harder on the middle children. My mom's like, Stephanie, I was just on this site, Lindakin. I'm like, well, it's called LinkedIn, Mom. And she's like, you know, your friend Rachel from Hebrew school, she's married now. My mom loves to tell me everyone who's married, she doesn't realize how hard it is to date in your 40s in New York City. Like, my boyfriend just broke up with me, with him, but I guess that could be, I'm from Washington, D.C. But the thing is I met him on a Jewish dating app. Christian, that was his name. You know, he felt the need before our first date to let me know he wasn't Jewish. I'm like, what gave that away, Christian? You know, and I feel like, you know, I wanted to know why he was on a Jewish dating app, and I would ask him all the time. He never really gave me an answer, and I just figured he had a thing for the Old Testament. There was an incident with a burning bush when he broke up with me, but, you know, let me just say, I digress. You know, the thing is that let me just tell you this. As a young girl in Hebrew school, I used to fantasize about meeting a nice Catholic boy to make love to me, a cross just gently dangling in my mouth. But the fantasy is so different than the reality. He was gone before he came. Well, he did that and then he left. So, I mean, I do go back on the dating apps to see what's left. Not a lot. These guys remind me sort of garbage pail kids. I'm a kid of the 80s. We used to have these cards. We didn't have the internet. We had these cards, and these guys had names like Gross Greg and Snotty Steve. Well, the Bumble dating edition is like Foot Fetish Fred and Kinky Ken. I've gone out with both of them, and both have ghosted me. But I did have a date with a Jewish doctor recently, and my mom, she loves to send me eggplant emojis before dates. She's a little late to the party. She's like, it's not a vegetable or a fruit now, is it, Steph? I'm like, no, Mom. But I had a date with this Jewish doctor, so she sent me a slightly smaller eggplant, followed up by 5 shamrocks. She loves to give me a little extra luck. But this was a Jewish doctor, so it was a 5 shamrocker. And he took me out for old fashions. Real nice guy. And he said, why don't you have another? And I was like, if I have another, I'll make a bad decision. So I had 2 more. And I ended up in his bed, and like 1 a.m. happened, and like 1 a.m. seems to be the universal time, like it's time to take our leave. Cinderella has literally lost her fucking shoes. You know, there used to be a time guys would have a conscience. They would get out of bed, maybe help you find your shoes, but now with Uber, it's like, she's good. I think Uber's tagline really should be making douchebags' lives easier since 2009. Yeah. I mean, speaking of douchebags, I went out to Jersey. It is kind of dirty. To see my 6 and 7-year-old nephews. They remind me of the men that I date in New York. They're very excited to see me, and then the next day are like, what are you still doing here? I mean, I said to the 7-year-old the other day, I said, I love you, and he looked at me and paused, and then he said, thank you. And I could tell in his little brain he wanted to say more, you know, like, I don't know, there's a couple ants in my life, I'm not ready to commit. It's not you, it's me, I'm just in it for the Legos. You see how it gets worse and worse? I was just in Texas and I stayed at a hotel, and I got out of the shower and I wrapped myself in a towel. I thought it was the washcloth because it covered one boob, but it was the towel. Jenny Craig's not doing the heavy lifting I want her to do. But I'm starting to change, and somebody from the cleaning crew comes in unannounced. I'm like, hello, I'm naked. And they run out. I'm so embarrassed. I call the front desk. I was like, I was just seen naked. And the manager's like, we're so sorry. We'll put 20,000 points in your account. I'm like, 20,000 points? Is that what this body's worth? He's like, 40,000 points. I'm like, that's more like it. This is a 40,000 point body. And I pretty good about that until I realized it covers an eighth of a night at the Comfort Inn here in Burbank at the airport. You guys